Hello and welcome back to Joelee's. Sorry that it's been a minute, but I've been through a little bit of a life path altering injury. So I do apologize. Also, the last time I tried to sit down and make one of these, I was halfway through Shue's last video and my cat rubbed up against my laptop in such a way that it restarted the entire device. And since I was so far into the video, I didn't feel like I could do the react properly anymore. So that, consider it lost media. But today we are going to be, let me just click on this, looking at ShoeOnHead's latest video that just dropped yesterday as of record. How did we get here? Or how did this happen? I think this is going to be a spicy one because she has a Mr. Fuentes in the thumbnail. So hopefully I don't go too far out on a limb and say anything that gets me in too much trouble. I'm looking for jobs right now, so probably should tamp down my Twitter presence. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into the react. I'm going to click on it now.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am here to inform you that the rumors are indeed true. The Democrats have struck back. In the New Jersey governor's race, the Democrat...
Yeah, that was, I mean, it definitely felt like a one step forward, two step back, or something to that effect with the wins that they received in the election, then compared to the what people considered a complete fold on the reopening the government. So, well, I'm interested to see her perspective on that. But this is definitely we're about a year from the last time she had a post-election what do you call that? Post-election analysis. One of her best videos ever. One of the best videos on YouTube ever. I hope people watch that video 20, 30 years from now to explain the downfall and the second term of Trump, so everybody understands what was at stake and how they completely fumbled it. And, depending on how history goes, that's going to have like a lot of, it'll fill in the gaps. Far too often we look at there's usually an ending to eras of history, and we just look at the last thing that happened as like the definitive take on it. And the nuances of history are the mistakes we make along the way. How about we say? All right, so let's see if this was a mistake.
Won. In the Virginia governor's race, the Democrat won.
Yes.
And in the New York City race, Democratic Social...
Justice for Sliwa? I didn't think that's how you pronounce that name or, wrote that name. Cuomo stepped in there and took votes away from a honest to God, true-blooded New Yorker who just wanted to do best for his community. That guy has some amazing stories, wonderful takes on cats. I love the guy. I hope I see him more and more in my feeds. Like, that was probably the best thing to me about the New York City mayoral election, was getting to know the true gem that Sliwa, or Curtis Sliwa. I feel like I'm saying that so wrong. And boy, people criticize the red beret. It's branding. Makes them stand out. I love it.
Zoran Mamdani defeated Andrew Cuomo to become the next mayor of America's largest city. But the question on everyone's mind is, was it just a fluke? Just easy wins in blue cities and states? Or is there something more to this? Is this a sign of things to come? Is the Democratic Party finally turning their losing streak around? Are they actually listening to the people now? Did they finally learn their lesson? No. Thanks for watching. My last 3 videos about electoral politics were warning the Democratic Party that young men were moving right because the party f***ing sucks and was becoming the young men eat and die movement, spanking the Democratic Party for losing because they elected one of the most unlikable shittiest candidates while offering absolutely nothing to voters, and
cinema. That video was cinema.
defending the voters from the wrath of a bunch of liberal streamer man-children calling the voters stupid and evil for daring not to vote for Hillary Clinton and brownface. But the thesis for all 3 of those videos was basically the same. As the right embraces working-class populism, the Democratic Party and the left will continue to fade into irrelevancy. But as I also predicted in...
I wonder if she's going to get into this in this video, because based on ideas I hear spreading around the internet and the way things are going and how the establishment really is almost just cycling out. It's like being flushed out. I feel like we're almost at a place where there's going to be such a major party shift that in 10 years, to call somebody a Republican or a Democrat would mean such a different, it would mean something so totally different that you wouldn't even recognize them as the same party. I have a feeling that there's going to be just a populist party that has ideas that, a kind of a negotiation of ideas within the party between left and right. I think Fuentes, said something to this effect. It's like, Republicans have to give up on capitalism, or free markets, and Democrats have to give up on immigration, that version, those people in that party who will come together, because I feel like it's going to become a populist versus an elitist, maybe, dichotomy. And that means that people, especially in the populist camp, people on the hard social leftist and very staunch cultural conservatives are going to have to figure out how to communicate with each other and come to terms with each other and give and take. That's where I think things are going, because at the end of the day, they do want more like the same things than the people who are just the elitist in power sitting on their perch. And we know it's going to become basically, granted, us versus them, the populace versus the elite. And yeah, it's going to, bring together the horseshoe is kind of coming together at the bottom.
Those last videos, there might be an eventual pendulum swing, and it might be happening much sooner than I predicted. How did we go from Republicans winning the popular vote, in part thanks to a lot of the young people voting, to a bunch of data showing those same young people dropping their support for the GOP already? But the interesting thing is, those young people don't seem to be moving to the Democratic Party either. Where are they going? And do the Democrats have a plan to scoop these people up? Yes, they do, and they called it, I'm not kidding, deciding to win. Deciding to win, as if the whole time they have just been simply deciding to lose. It was a choice, guys. They changed their mind and they want to win now. In this video...
Man, honestly, kind of a self-report. It's like they decided to lose in the last major election, in the Kamala Harris election. They basically put forward a candidate just because, it was as though they put forward their candidate because they had to. It's as though the gun was to their head. It's like, with all the promises we've made, we have to put up a woman of color to run for president. We can't not put anybody else up. So we're going to have to figure out how to make that happen. If it's not Joe, it has to be a woman of color. That means it has to be Kamala. There's nobody else. And yeah, it's like they just walk themselves into a losing situation, and not granted, hindsight's 2020. And I will be the first to say that when she first took the podium and chose Tim Walz, and it felt like, thank goodness Joe's out and she's in, if the election was in those first 2 weeks, she would have maybe stood a fighting chance. And then she kept going, and then she kept talking, and then she kept the people around her kept making decisions, going on Call Her Daddy, campaigning with Liz Cheney. Somebody said it was only 3 events or something like that she campaigned with Liz Cheney. That's 3 too many. 3 too many. What pendulum? What did she think she was moving? Just go out there with somebody that everybody on both sides hates. Anyways, not going on Joe Rogan. You might as well have decided to lose then and there. Giving one candidate complete reign over the most influential podcast for young men. Okay, we're not relitigating this, but yes, deciding to win. I wonder what that's going to entail. I wonder who you're going to put up as candidates. Let's find out.
I will talk about why I think Zoran Mamdani won. We will go through the Democrat Party's plan to decide to win. We will briefly talk about the rise of the political commentator Nick Fuentes, the MAGA Civil War, and what I like to call the inevitable rise of shoe-cilism. If that sounds interesting...
Ooh, as a shoe simp, I'm very excited to hear her positions. I could use I used to call myself a Bernie-crat. Let's find out what I could be calling myself, if I sign up for shoe-cilism.
Stick around. If it doesn't, you can leave. It's not like I'll miss you or anything.
Oh.
But Baka. I know a lot of you are not very interested in politics. You come here for the fun Reddit slop, the men versus women content. Yeah, I know. But unfortunately, politics kind of seeps into your lives whether you want it to or not. So you might as well be entertained when you hear about it and have some fun with it when you can. And I just so happen to have the perfect app for that. So before we get into this political deep dive, let's quickly give a shout out to today's sponsor, one of my favorite sponsors to work with, Ground News.
All right, so I'm
Ground News
going
is a website
to do
and an
this.
app
You've
that gives
seen her
readers
video
a
already, I
transparent and
presume,
easy
so
way
I'm just
to read
doing
news
this
from
from here on
all
out.
across
Is
the
I'll
political
just
spectrum,
bring
from
the
left,
audio
right,
down and
and
maybe just
center.
talk over the
Every
ad a
story
little
comes with
bit.
a quick visual breakdown of
Because,
political
you
bias
should be
that helps you
watching Shoe's
understand the
video
full
by
story
yourself
and
first
make
before
sure
you
you're
watch it with
getting
me,
both sides.
right?
One of my favorite features
Right.
on Ground News is the blind spot feature.
But yeah,
which shows
so
you
in the
news
comments,
stories that have been
what's your
covered by
favorite
one side
look
the
of
spectrum
Shoe
and
in the
ignored
video?
by the
You can
other.
wait till
For
the end of the
example,
video,
here is a story about how the
obviously,
White House
but
apparently
she usually shows
intervened
off quite a
in
few
an
during her
Andrew
Ground
Tate
News or
federal
any
probe.
advertisements that she does. We
29
got
news
blonde Shoe
sources
right here.
covered this. 86%
Very,
of them
I
were
think it's a very
left-wing.
good color
None
for her hair.
were right-wing. Ground News also makes it really easy to compare headlines to see how political bias can affect
shades
framing.
and textures.
For example, this feud
Very,
between
very
Elon
open
Musk
to that
and
sort of
Billie
thing.
Eilish. This right-wing headline reads, Elon Musk claps back at Billie Eilish after she slams him for hoarding wealth.
Yeah.
And this left-wing article frames the same story as Elon Musk's comebacks are as flat as his attempts at jokes.
Very different
vibes
it's Jezebel.
going
Look
on
at that.
here. I
Hey,
have been
big
using
surprise.
Ground News
A
since
fake
2021
news
because it is
website
just a great
does
and fun way to
criticism,
keep up with
cultural,
the news.
like,
But don't just
like
take my
it
word
has
for
the
it.
headline
Even the Nobel
tell
Peace
you their
Center called
opinion.
it an excellent way
You know?
to stay informed, avoid echo chambers,
Either
and
way,
expand
you
your
should,
worldview.
don't
Best of all,
just
I am
read the
currently
headlines.
offering
Biggest thing I
40%
can recommend.
off their Vantage plan, which is
the headlines
plan I use
for
to
any
access
story
all their amazing
are a good way of
features.
taking
So
a
go to
barometer of how
ground.news/shoe
people are
or use the
feeling.
QR code
But if you want the
here
real
on
news,
screen,
you got to read
or
the
use the link in the
articles.
video description
And most
down
of the time, the
below. It's only
articles
like $5 a
will tell
month,
you the
which
same
is
thing
basically
for the
price
most
of,
part.
like, a coffee.
Even the
You
Jezebel
can
one
also
probably
gift
tells you
a
the
subscription to
sequence of
somebody.
events.
Just select the Vantage
They'll
subscription,
probably just
add a
pepper it in with
customized
some
gift
more.
message, and Ground
What is the
News will
term I'm
send
looking
it
for
straight to
here?
their inbox where they can activate it. The perfect Christmas present for your
Commentary, maybe pull quotes to, to embolden their headline.
The viewer for not skipping the ad.
I didn't.
Right?
Oh, yes.
Now, let's get back to the
I
video.
live for the threats.
For those of you familiar with the ShoeOnHead channel, you know I've harshly criticized the Democratic Party for all my career. Some say too harshly. Frankly, I don't care. And some say...
No, they deserved it every single step of the way. Considering that they wanted to be the party, they wanted to pretend to be the party for the people, they really rat-fucked all of us. They deserved a right spanking. Most of them should have been caned on the steps of the halls of Congress for their insolence and for their smug pride. They should have, like, when they went down to kneel for that George Floyd thing with the African garb, scarves on, African flavored scarves on, somebody should have come out and just start caning. That should have been the great caning of the 20th century.
I'm not harsh enough on the Republicans. First of all, true, but let's be honest, that's not why you come here. You go to Kyle Kalinske for that, just like you go to Destiny to see opinions you can hear on CNN, or to Hassan for dog training tips. You come here to hear, golly gee willikers, I'm left-wing, and the Democrats have gone crazy. That's the shit you're here for. But are the Democrats actually getting their shit together? Or did they simply get lucky in a few blue areas? One of those blue areas being my city, New York, where Democratic Socialist candidate Zoran Mamdani won the election and will become the new mayor. And a lot of people are like...
I mean, look at the vote to break down. The Republican didn't even have, what was it? It's like 7%. Usually the mayoral election for a place like New York and other major cities of those calibers are the primaries. It's like, which Democrat are you going to have as your mayor? And then the general is almost always just a, like a small pageantry of like a Republican candidate, like I guess getting at least some face time on the bigger stage before they maybe go and actually run someplace they could actually win, or maybe it's just like kind of a vanity project for somebody. But this time around, they actually had to fight for the election because of freaking Cuomo. What a bum! What a freaking bum! Stepping in there. Oh my god! The fact that people try to. Sorry, I gotta send a message off. Messages. Can I call you later? Yeah. the fact that Cuomo, the people were telling Siwa, why can't I say his name, to step down, that was like such arrogant bull malarkey. It's like, step down so we have a chance. You know, this independent candidate who nobody asked to vote to run, who's sidestepping the entire project, it can have a chance. And fortunately, it didn't even matter. Madami would have won one way or the other. Am I like all for everything Madami has put forward? I have some trepidations about some of his policies, but he's the man the people want. And I think that's the most important thing in an election. In the long run, is like representation by the person that the majority wants, and I think that was obviously what got settled. I mean, they should want Siwa. Curtis, come on the show. What show? I don't know. Developing it. You could be the first guest. Love to talk to you. You can tell your stories, all the stories again, and you can meet my cat, Winston.
Are like really confused about how this happened. And if you're one of those people, you really need to keep watching. If you don't understand why Mamdani won, I'm sorry to say, but you're kind of like the liberals in 2016 who didn't understand why Trump won. It's actually extremely understandable why Zoran Mamdani won. 100%. And it's not just because New York is full of...
Young and hot are probably right up there. He's the closest thing to a new Obama that we've had in a long time. And granted, he's... in the fact that he isn't just a carbon copy, you can't just... You know, there's so many politicians out there that tried to mimic the way that Obama spoke. Buttigieg got a lot of criticisms for that, and there were definitely others who just tried to be like walk in the steps of Obama, mirror Obama. That's not how cool works. That's not how aura works. You got to find your own way of aura. Madami found his own way. He learned through his rap career, I'm guessing. You know, there's a lot of like self-reflection you have to do when you are on video. So, but yeah, basically he had to learn his own way, and he did.
Commies or whatever. He's objectively the best Democratic candidate that they've had in a very, very long time. Like, I know the bar is in hell there, but he's young, he's energetic, he's charismatic, 100. And people are really tired of the White House doubling as a retirement home. And of course, I like many of his economic policies. I like the universal childcare thing, the transportation, flipping off the Christopher Columbus statue. That's the shit I don't like. Bitch, that's our fucking guy. He was a brave Italian explorer who discovered America, and in this house, Christopher Columbus is a hero. End of story.
100. I mean, I'm with you. I think for the most part, I would need to do some more historical looking into it, but I feel like Christopher Columbus, just the weight of the sins of all the Spanish conquistadors are kind of put on his shoulders. The guy, for the most part, just found a new place to trade. What happened afterward? It's almost like, it's almost like blaming Steve Jobs for our current culture because he put the iPhone in our hands and in our pockets. And granted, he probably has some blame, but to say it's not, the CEOs at Match.com or whatever, Match Group, the CEOs of Google, Meta, these are the real people who came in behind and utilized the technology he gave them to make the world worse. I feel very similar about Christopher Columbus. But if you know more about Columbus or have specifically videos, I love videos, audiobooks, anything like that to fill me in, as long as it's not that one historical douchebag, Howard Zinn, I think it is. As long as it's not him, I don't trust I wouldn't trust him as a source. But if, the sources he cites, let me know. But yeah, I've come around on Christopher Columbus. And yes, to let the Italians have, let them have one. Like, what else they got going on?
This many times, but I don't think the good left-wing policies can even exist alongside the bad left-wing policies. Like, I don't know how you can have free transportation, but also be soft on crime. Like, I don't know, like, in what world does that work out? You can't have nice, clean, free transportation if a bunch of drug addicts and violent 100%. Felons are going around stabbing people and setting them on fire.
You need to have like an elevated, like, that ticket guy, like, where's your ticket? Somebody who's just like there, just in general, making sure the vibe on the train is right. We have a train here in Houston, and every now and then, because it might as well be free transportation, I'm just going to say that the train here in Houston that can take me from my humble abode here to the downtown area, I have paid. I had used it for at least 6 months or so, consistently, nearly every day. and I maybe paid to use it 4 times, and those 4 times were when what was it, toll checkers, ticket checkers were on the train. And the people that are doing it, they don't take much pride in their job. I hate to say, they're not enthusiastic about being toll inspectors or whatever they're called. And I mean, I think you need every day, you need you need your conductor, and you need your ticket collector, and that person needs to be ready to lay down the law. Sometimes they need to make sure it's like, hey, no eating, hey, no vaping, hey, don't stab that white woman, that she's just minding her own business, and so should you. Get off the train. Somebody to sort of be the person in charge, because when we're left without a person in charge, somebody above us in the hierarchy, that's when anarchy. They say hey, you realize the words seem to have a similar suffix with different prefixes that would maybe suggest that they are dichotomies of each other. And yes, also to Shue's point, and this is kind of where I forget the other YouTuber's name. I want to do some React content to him. I also want to start doing React content that's like a more commentary, like less like I'm reacting to the video for the first time I've ever heard it, more of like I've heard the video and I have some things to say about it, and I'll play like the important parts and say those things. Anyways, you don't need to know all that. I'm just saying that I do want to change up my content, and he's all about dark centrism, which he, if you imagine the political compass, he says moderate centrism, which is like all your political opinions are like right there in the middle of the compass. Bad. And I agree. The dark centrism is like you have political opinions on the radical sides of all of the points of the compass. And I do believe that where leftism really needs to buckle down and take itself more seriously is on crime and punishment. And it's like if you want to create a great society, you have to enforce a great society. I think this is where authoritarian versus libertarian. This is the part where the authoritarians went out, and I lean towards authoritarianism when it comes to you're in public transport. You can't watch pornography on a public transport. There could be children here. You shirts with cuss words, turn that inside out, bucko. You turn it back right side when you get to where you're going. That dang punk rock club. You want to set a woman on fire? No setting women on fire. That sort of thing, And this train conductor or train ticket taker, I imagine him having a billy club, something to give somebody a knock on the head with in case they step out of line.
You can't have nice things if you don't have rules to enforce those nice things. You know what I mean? It's always such a breath of fucking fresh air when I go back to visit my family in the suburbs of Long Island and I go to the CVS and the fucking toothpaste is free from their plexiglass prisons. I shouldn't have to wait 10 minutes for some poor wagey to come unlock the cagey so I can buy fucking shampoo. We don't have to live that way. Maybe he'll do great. Or maybe he gets into power and immediately cucks to the establishment like some other people. I don't like to talk about it. I just don't know how the hell anyone thought Andrew Cuomo was going to win. He killed a bunch of grandmas during COVID.
As you admitted this,
there was a vendetta against Cuomo. Like, he stepped on too many toes. If they really wanted to try to bring down Madami, they chose the wrong man.
Week, you personally altered the state health department report to undercount the death total, to hide the death total, and then evaded and lied to these families for 5 years. So
you killed a shit ton of people. For what? Plus, he doesn't even live in New York City. He doesn't live in the city he's running to be mayor of. Cuomo just kind of expected to win based on name recognition alone and being like, hey, at least I'm not the other guy. Sound familiar? Trump actually offered a vision. Make America great again. Mamdani offered a vision. A New York City you can afford. So people took a chance on him. People wanted something different. Andrew Cuomo, he had no vision or anything. Oh man, I love tuning into a debate about New York City, and 80% of it is about another f***ing country.
The first foreign visit by a mayor of New York is always considered significant. Where would you go first?
First visit, I would visit the Holy Land.
Just have to say that should be the most irrelevant thing, and maybe like I would suggest Europe seems pretty relevant to New York. Most of the immigrants from the 1800s and 1900s, 20th century even, came from England, Paris, Germany. I could see, the great cities. I'm sorry, but I don't think Jerusalem is one of the great cities, like versus London and Paris. And also, I think being the mayor is a domestic job. Stay at home for the most part. You can, obviously you can travel. I'm not going to stop a mayor from traveling, but it shouldn't be part of your policies. It's just not. Yeah, I'm just. This is just one of the most annoying questions. My good friend and business partner, Danny Ayub, and I would often criticize, like when we watched the clips from this debate. This was our biggest talking point.
I would go to Israel.
I'd make my 4th trip to Israel.
Mr. Mamdani.
I would stay in New York City. My plans are to address New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs and focus on that.
Mr. Mamdani, can I just jump in? Would you visit Israel?
That was the exact moment I knew Zoran was going to win. Bro was just surrounded by NPCs. I love how they're like, where would you go? And Zoran was like, I'm gonna stay here. And instead of being like, no, Zoran, the question was, where would you go? They're like, why wouldn't you go to Israel? Like, that's the answer to the question. Like, that's just the default answer to that question. His win was very much in part a direct response to the affordability crisis that many Americans are facing. So what is the GOP's answer to the affordability crisis? Oh, great news, guys. There is no affordability crisis. It doesn't exist. It's all in your head, silly. Need to save money? Simply don't buy your grandmother a Christmas present this year.
Budget.
Oh, I know I'm not buying any presents this year, unfortunately. Yeah, let's just say this is come with a lot of expenses and a deficit of income. Oh, by the way, might as well throw that out there. If you're a longtime watcher of Joelee's, I'm going to leave a link to my GoFundMe. It's not even to help the surgery, honestly. It's just to get me through the recovery before I can start making money again. If you could throw a few bucks that way, please do. And thank you. Thank you very much.
You need a plan. Also remember, adults don't need gifts, okay? Focus on the people in your life who are age 3 to 18. Grandma doesn't need slippers. If they don't live by you, don't get them a gift. Now's not the time to spend and break the banks.
Zoran's win was also basically a direct response to the housing crisis in America. So what is the GOP's response to the pie-in-the-sky, commie gobbledygook that Zoran Mamdani is selling? Surely they have a better solution.
Here we go. The White House is floating this idea. Bill Pulte is saying, thanks to President Trump, we can indeed work on the 50-year mortgage, a complete game changer. How does that work in dollars? Here you go.
I would be 90. If I bought a house ASAP, I wouldn't have it paid off until I was 90. How does a 50-year mortgage make sense? You buy a house at 25, I can't imagine getting there any earlier, unless you're a real go-getter or have daddy's money. And if you have those, you're not going to need the 50-year mortgage. So, 25? You don't have your mortgage paid off till you're 75? This is like a non-solution. This is a solution that people who only work on spreadsheets come up with.
30-year fixed mortgage right now, you're paying $2,038 a month, principal and interest on a $400,000 home. At the bottom, under 50 years, you'd save a couple $100 a month at $1,822 principal and interest. That is proposed. Right. Do you like this idea?
I do not like this idea.
Not lowering prices, not building.
And that's from Fox. That's from Fox News. They're they can be straight shooting sometimes. I love that they're not just signing up. Just yes manning that one.
More housing? No, just being a good little slave to the bank for 50 years. You might as well be a rentoid forever in this case. Like, at least you don't have to fix your own dishwasher. You will own nothing and be happy. Doesn't that sound great, Gen Z? Vote for us. We'll release the Epstein files and finally drain the swamp. Awesome. Finally, justice. Here it comes, the Epstein Files Phase 1. We got all your favorite E-celebs here. Don't you think that's a little tacky? I mean, this is an international child trap. The Epstein Files are on my desk. Oh, that's great. That's what we've been waiting for.
Yeah?
Well? Oh, they don't exist. Wait, what? Yeah, the Epstein Files don't exist. They're Democrat.
I mentioned earlier, comments on your favorite Shoe look in this video. I think Pam Bondi with the pink looks really great on Shoe.
Hoax. But you just said, hey, what the fuck? That's my wallet. Sorry, Israel needs new weapons. Bye. Psst. What do you want, Democrat? Vote for us. Why? What do you have to offer? Hey, that's my wallet again. What are you people doing? Sorry, Israel needs new weapons. Bye.
Great call on the septum piercing for the Democrats. I have personal life update, if you will. I have been, single for a few months now, swiping on the apps, and I've decided that a septum piercing is an instant no thank you, an instant swipe left, not right. And so far, I haven't had any wild and crazy dates.
The Epstein files are a really big deal. This is not a partisan issue. You should absolutely care about an international child trafficking blackmail operation consisting of the most powerful people in the world. And anyone telling you to move on is coping, gaslighting, or in on it. If whatever is in there is so damning that it is a national security risk, the people deserve to know. Like, I don't know about you, but if we are paying taxes to a bunch of satanic pedophiles, I would like to know. That is information I would like to know.
Yeah, but they wouldn't want you to know that. They're satanic pedophiles. Like, lying is like probably the first thing they need, like the first skill they need to be able to pass through that door to get into the satanic pedophile club. Like, they don't let honest people in there.
I already know we're doing that, but I would like some confirmation. Okay, so literally as I am filming this, Trump is saying he is releasing the Epstein files. So I guess they weren't a hoax. I'm gonna be so honest. I have no idea what the is going on, you guys. I'm sure when this video gets posted, there's already going to be more things that have happened. Also, Mike Johnson apparently said they need to make changes to the files to make sure we, quote, don't do permanent damage to the political system. If releasing the Epstein...
I'm sorry, yeah. Sometimes you just have to, a forest has to be set on fire for all the dead trees to, get out of the way, to clear out the space for new life. We might be at that place with the United States government. Or the worldwide governments. But knowing how things go, like all the information will come out, nothing will change, and the people responsible for getting the information out will just be murdered. I think they're called assassinated when it's that important.
Files would do damage to the political system, then so be it. Then it deserves to be damaged. It deserves to be destroyed. Just release the files. After all, if you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear. Isn't that right, government? But it wasn't just the Epstein files thing that has MAGA feeling a little demoralized lately.
And does that mean the H-1B visa thing will not be a big priority for your administration? Because if you want to raise wages for American workers, you can't flood the country with tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of foreign workers.
You also do have to bring in talent.
We have plenty of talented people here.
No, you don't.
We don't have talented people here?
No, you don't have certain talents, and people have to learn.
We've talked about this a few times on this channel.
The Who song, Won't Get Fooled Again. Is that the name of the song? That's the main driving point. I think it's the name of the song. Just listen to that every time you think, if you're a MAGA, if you thought Trump was going to change everything, if you were like me, thought Obama, he will change the world for the better. Just remember, new boss is the same as the old boss. They're really not here for us. They are there for powers that be, influences that we have. We just don't even have. All of us together could not influence them enough, put enough weight on the scale to influence them to not choose the other side, to give into their whims and what they want. I wish I could say it better, but essentially, for the most part, you're getting just a different flavor of the same old policy, and what the people at the top want, who have so many fewer hands and so much more influence, say they want is cheap labor. That's what it's always going to come down to. That's always what they're going to want. And at this point, they believe that they can't bring up the talent, or at least they claim they can't bring up the talent in this country to be that level of labor. I'm trying to say this as politely as possible. They just don't believe we have what it takes here as Americans, when in reality they just want to be able to pick and choose from all the nations, just the best of the best, because the great people, great minds can come from anywhere. And I personally feel like those great minds should probably serve their local regions and make their countries better. That's like how the world should work. But of course, in the globalized world and the networked world, the great people rise up and then are poached, but whether by company or by nations. So it's like I get the math. I mean, look, their math isn't wrong, but what is wrong is I think it undercuts the natural order. And it's going to perpetuate a world where the globe, nations that are underdeveloped are going to remain underdeveloped because the people who show promise and talent, who can help raise the entire nation, the great men of their society, are just going to become the mediocre men, or at the very least like upper management of our society. And I think that's wrong. I think it's wrong to take those opportunities away from our people. It's wrong for us not to look at our education system and say, how do we make sure that our talent can rise to the occasion? No, we just know that there's like a 1% of the population who is exceptional, and we just want to, pluck the 1%, those exceptional 1% from all across the world and fill our bucket with them.
Well, actually, very recently in the male loser epidemic video, the no talented Americans thing is a myth pushed on us by corpos and billionaires, so they can hire foreign workers who will work for less money and won't unionize. Worker drones who will work under the coercion of deportation, essentially creating infinite scab labor. Even though there are so many Americans in these fields looking for jobs. But those spoiled Americans will ask for a living wage so they can live in a 600-foot square apartment. How dare they? We can't do that. So import 1 billion immigrants. After all, it's good for business.
Folks are not thrilled about this idea.
Shoe is nailing it right now.
Hundreds of thousands of foreign students in the United States.
If we were to cut that in half, which perhaps makes some people happy, you would have half the colleges in the United States go out of business.
So what?
And it's not that I want them, but I view it as a business.
Unfortunately, America does feel like nothing but 3 corporations in a trench coat. But America is not a business.
NVIDIA, OpenAI, Meta, Google, some of those, Apple, but I feel like they don't participate in this as much as the other things.
Yes, America is not a corporation. It is a nation. The contrast of what Trump is saying here
She nails it right yet again. I grew up and my stepdad was definitely on the we should run this country like a business. Like, he had taken that hook, line, and sinker. And I've always been on the side of maybe there's some wisdom in the in the nuances here and there that might maybe should be applied. But no, a nation is not a business. A nation is a nation. It's a completely different entity with completely different goals and motivations and needs. Like, for the most part, I can't think of many businesses that have to defend an entire nation from the rest of the world. They have to defend themselves, I guess, from other businesses, but that's usually more the spycraft, I guess. But how many nations are out there having to organize and be able to field an army and a navy consistently? That's just different needs, different ways of operating, and that comes with things that wouldn't fly in business, and vice versa, things that business does that just would not be effective.
Compared to how he used to talk is staggering. Republicans embracing populism, at least rhetorically, is what gave rise to Donald Trump and fundamentally changed the way Republicans do politics in America. If you go back and watch the debates of Donald Trump in 2016, it's crazy.
We should have never been in Iraq. We have destabilized the Middle East. They lied. Okay. They said there were weapons of mass destruction. There were none, and they knew there were none. There were no weapons of mass
Okay,
destruction.
all right.
Damn. Almost makes me wonder why I even didn't vote for him back in 2016. Like he was spitting hot fire for like what I, as somebody who was just in my adolescence during that era, during the Bush Iraq era, I was like basically going, you could probably chart my high school through college education based off with the Iraq war in the background through all of it. And he was saying on that stage exactly what I was like, saying to my friends, all the time that we were saying together. I can't believe that we just completely, took the Kool-Aid on him being just the worst person of all time. That's something like, the fact that he said that should have been number one sign that I should not have signed up for Trump derangement syndrome during his first time in the White House. His first, what is the word I'm looking for here? You understand what I'm saying? His first term. There we go.
I remember being like, damn, that's not how politicians in general really talked at that time. Like, we would see it from Bernie Sanders and maybe like Ron Paul, but to get up on stage in a Republican debate in front of Republican donors saying that kind of shit was unheard of. Bro was getting booed. Trump won in 2016 by decrying the bloodlust and warmongering of the Republican Party, but also by speaking to the economic woes of the average working class American. Basically saying, I see you, to people who felt like they haven't been seen by either party in a very long time. Like, I saw people in my life, my neighbors and stuff, that were all like Obama voters, like just flipped to Trump, and now like all of Long Island. Long Island is like the Florida of the Northeast, bro. It is like Trump country there now. Before Trump... Ooh. Oh, my nuggies are here. My nuggies are here. One second. I must go get my nuggies. It's nuggie time. 34-year-old woman, by the way. Mother, by the way. Before Trump...
Hey, mother's got to eat.
Democrats basically relied on talking about how the Republican Party didn't care about the working class. But eventually, the problem for Democrats was the working class didn't care about them. But now it seems like the Republican Party is going back on all of that and becoming the Bush-era neoconservative party again, right as they're winning, embracing freaks like Lindsey Graham.
So I just want to say, I feel good about the Republican Party. I feel good about where we're going as a nation. We're killing all the right people and we're cutting your taxes. Trump is my favorite president. We've run out of bombs. We didn't run out of bombs in World War II.
Republicans, is that what you want your party to be? Lowering taxes and killing people? We tried that already. To many Republicans, the solution to the affordability crisis, wreaking havoc on Americans, is simply trusting the free market, working hard, and if that doesn't work, they bust out all reliable.
If you're a young person and you can't afford to live here, then maybe you should not live here. I mean, that is a real thing. Yeah, I know that we've now grown up in a society that says that you deserve to live where you grew up, but the reality is that the history of America is almost literally the opposite of that.
Ah, yes.
I've fallen for a few right-leaning people. Like I've seen the cool, the thought leaders. I will, anybody who ever, gave Ben Shapiro the time of day, I have, very, very poor opinions towards it. It's one of the few things that makes me question Jordan Peterson, honestly, that he went and joined Ben Shapiro's team. Maybe he's just really convincing behind the scenes. Maybe Ben Shapiro should have just been a behind the scenes person this entire time, not a pundit. But he's never on. He's basically a broken clock fallacy. Maybe right every now and then, but for the most part, not only does he lack a charisma to convince people of his perspectives are so selfish, so gross. Sorry, I'm trying to form words here, but it's a little tough. I don't like Ben Shapiro. I don't think his voice should be at the table, and he's just getting worse and worse. And I think everybody's seeing through him now.
The classic. Just move from economics. 67 to economic zone 69. I don't know, man. Maybe some people actually like where they live. Maybe they want to make their community better. This is like the libertarian version of just deal with it when you talk to leftists about crime. Like, no, we shouldn't just deal with it. We shouldn't just move. Maybe we can make the cities in our country livable and safe. Maybe better things are possible. My husband and I moved away from our families because of his job, and it f***ing sucks. It sucks raising kids without an extended family around. Say hi to grandma on FaceTime. Not normal. Not natural. When I was growing up, it was like aunts and uncles and cousins and grandparents were just coming in and out of my house, like bringing over food, like, hey, I got some mancati. I would be babysat by my cousins and my aunts. And because we moved away, my kid won't have that. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's one reason many young people are putting off having children. The complete lack of community, the lack of a village. If you can't afford to live where your family lives, just move to f***ing Gary, Indiana, where there's nobody around and no jobs and no family and no friends, but hey, at least you can afford a house there. That's not how life should work, Ben. Maybe take a step back and try to understand. Am I doing bird hands too much? You guys have made me so insecure about the f***ing bird hands thing ever since this meme.
Mm-hmm. She's Italian. It's just how she communicates. I don't think it's the same thing. Because I feel like bird hands are like, you have to do this. Otherwise, I will do this. It's like a threat. It's like when it's bird hands. It's bird hands. It's like pecking. Versus like, I think like she's just, she's a conductor. She conducts her words with her hands.
Listen, I'm a woman, okay? We are programmed to scold children. And when no children are around, we scold people on the internet, okay? Anyway, Nick Fuentes is a far-right commentator and a controversial figure to say the least. But his main topic he covers is Israel, which is an extremely hot topic that many other right-wing commentators seem to not want to touch. And the rare times they do touch it, it's them telling you not to talk about it, questioning why you care so much, or shape-shifting into the woke mob they fought against for so many years, calling you names, calling for you to be censored. What's funny is they didn't care about any of Nick Fuentes' rants on like race or women. They only started caring when his rants on Israel were blowing up. Nick recently did an interview with Tucker Carlson, which completely ignited the MAGA civil war that was brewing on the right for some time now. It got so ridiculous that even Chuck Schumer went on the Senate floor and called for a disavowal of Nick Fuentes. Sir, with all due respect, none.
Yeah, thank you. I know I'm cutting her off probably to say the same thing she's about to say, but you're disavowing an American citizen at a government level. Like, have you heard the Streisand effect? Like, let's just start there. You just want to put a headline in the paper making people aware that Nick Fuentes exists. I mean, if you don't want his message getting out there, kind of need to maybe not do that. Maybe not like tie him to his views as being anywhere close to the government. It's like everything you said is just legitimizing Nick Fuentes. I don't know. It's just like, that seems like just the unforced error. I want to see what Shue has to say, but I'm just going to start there.
Why do politicians need a resolution in the Senate to disagree with a citizen? Hello, I have gathered you all here today to disavow Hitler Bussy 420. People can't afford groceries, Charles. Ben Shapiro, in particular, has spent the last few months extremely confused and angry about Zohran Mamdani and Nick Fuentes becoming popular in the mainstream, all while his numbers continue to drop. I honestly don't think he understands what is happening here, so I am going to explain to you, Ben, what exactly is going on here. The American dream does not exist anymore for most people. Young people followed advice that worked for older generations, and it got them nowhere. Young people are tired of this stale, moldy, old, dead consensus that has dominated American politics for a very long time. The one that dragged us into all these foreign wars and sold us out for some cheap plastic shit from China. Young people are tired of being told to sit down and shut up and pledge allegiance to the free market in a country that seems to not give a shit about them, as well as a foreign country they have absolutely no connection to. For so long, establishment hacks and establishment shills looked at the issues bothering the people and just kind of dismissed them. Can't afford to live where you grew up? Just move. Don't like that the toothpaste is locked behind plexiglass? Just deal with it. Think it's kind of f***ed up how you work 40 hours a week and still can't afford to pay rent? What are you, Some kind of communist? You don't like funding a genocide with your tax dollars? What are you, anti-Semitic? If you don't address the issues of the people will gravitate towards those who are addressing those issues. It's not Mamdani's fault he won. It's...
Oh, shoot. Well, hopefully I can just press the button again. There it goes. But to say to go off of what Shue was saying there, here, just have to press that. Oh, that actually distracted me so much I have to remind myself what I was going to say. You know, the one good thing I'll say about democracy when it works well is that it is over time a self-correcting machine. If done properly, you know, there are faults still, and depending on your position, you might think that it always fails, your perspective, what you need. But yeah, if the people in power, the way democracy should work, if they're no longer speaking for the people or addressing what the people most are concerned about and interested in, then it is not working. Pretty ballpark standard, and people will then change to embrace politicians who are suggesting that they will take care of or investigate or, you know, deal with these issues. I mean, humanity in general is a self-correcting machine, in my opinion, and I think democracy is an extension of that, you know, like that internal biological system working with the natural order. It's almost like now we have we have a system that also changes, modifies, revolutionizes itself when necessary. And so we'll love to see the dead wood get axed.
Yours. It's not Nick Fuentes' fault he's popular. It's yours. The tragedy of Ben Shapiro is that he led a life worshipping the free market, only to lose in the free marketplace of ideas.
Hell yeah.
Now, with all this neocon rhetoric coming out of the GOP, are the Democrats going to pick up the populist ball that they are fumbling? Are they actually going to get their shit together? Well, they are trying, because they have written an article called Deciding to Win, where after interviewing over 300,000 American voters from both parties, they may have finally discovered the secret to winning. To give ourselves the
something about this, like, made me think, you know, going through a breakup recently, or gone through a breakup, still processing a breakup. I don't know. What you tell me. How do I look? My eyes. How do they look? But it's very much, I kind of see this as being very much like a breakup situation, like politics is, where if the American people don't choose you, then, you know, you should probably be like, well, I hope that you find happiness in the future, you know. I think that the fact that their message right now is deciding to win, it still underscores the winning part, as though electoral politics in of itself is the goal. I hate that, because even if you lose, you should still be going out and trying to win the country, like do best for the country, best for the people. And it does seem like what they're chasing is an election night party, you know, not a just a random January in an off election year, you know, initiative to make people's lives better. That is, you know, that has to come to an agreement through bipartisan, you know, bipartisan politics. And yeah, that's where I think the failure is. So I would say that my initial reaction to the Decide to Win slogan is very negative already. 100% off the rip. Don't like it. I think it's a losing. Deciding to win is a losing position.
Best chance to win. We recommend the following changes to our approach. Democrats need to 1. Focus our messaging on an economic program centered on lowering costs, growing the economy, creating jobs, and expanding the social safety net. 2. Advocate for popular economic policies. Moderate our positions where our agenda is unpopular, including on issues like immigration, public safety, energy production, and some identity and cultural issues.
So basically it took you guys 10 years, millions of dollars, and dozens of Microsoft team meetings to come to the conclusion that everyone has been saying forever. You wasted a decade worshipping at the altar of mentally ill Karens, and now you're acting like, hey, what if we were normal is a groundbreaking political discovery. you. I could have told you all this for free. It is a bad sign that it took you over a decade to come to the same conclusion that my audience has come to like a decade ago. And they're all retarded. Please reflect
We are.
on this, I beg of you. Also, what do you mean you had unpopular positions on public safety? Like, why would you even say that out loud? Yeah, let's vote for the party that admits it was wrong about the issue of crackheads shanking people in the street. I love this quote from Nancy Pelosi randomly shoved in here.
Winning an election is a decision. You make a decision to win, and then you make every decision in favor of winning.
How deep?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think that she's going to have a great career, post-career. Maybe she could coach a girls' soccer team with that kind of with those kind of quotes. Oh man, she is just ready to get out there on the field and talk those girls into doing their best.
How thought-provoking. Thank you, Nancy. What would we do without you? Probably win an election.
Democrats have changed our focus. In comparison with the Democratic Party of 2012, today's Democratic Party is more focused on issues like climate change, democracy, abortion, and identity and cultural concerns, and less focused on the economy and middle class. The table below shows this shift. Through an analysis of the prevalence of selected words in the 2024 Democratic Party platform, in comparison with the 2012 Democratic Party platform.
This whole study is really interesting, but I need you guys to see this chart because when I first saw this, the scream I screamed. So Democrats since 2012 have increased their rhetoric on race by, sit down, 1,137%. On the gays, 1,044%. Their rhetoric on men has decreased by 51%. It is now negative 51%. On fathers, negative 100%. They just stopped talking about that shit. Veterans, negative 31. No! The economy, negative 51 because nobody cares about that, right? The middle class, 79%, but I guess you can't really talk about something that is disappearing.
Yes.
And jobs, negative 47%. It somehow gets worse. Apparently voters trust Republicans more on the most important issues to them and trust Democrats the most on the least important issues to them. Like they literally care the least about LGBT, but trust Democrats the most with it. The most popular Democratic policies among voters are things like lowering drug prices, banning stock trading, expanding Medicare, and raising the minimum wage. While the most unpopular Democratic policies are things like abolishing the police, providing free healthcare to illegal immigrants, and affirmative action. You're telling me this for the first time. Democrats, here is some advice for free. You can't just be MAGA light. Why would people drink Mr. Pibb when Dr. Pepper is right there? You know what I'm saying? You gotta bring something different, something better to the table. And that difference should be working class focused economic populism. I don't just want two neocon parties, okay? But all of this is pointless when it's clear the Dems are not changing at all. They're just gonna change their messaging. They're putting pretty wrapping paper and a bow on a big fat smelly turd. There is a chance that the Democrats may win based entirely on Orange Man bad. Again.
No, it's not going to happen. It didn't work with George W. Bush. It didn't work with Trump. I'm starting to be slightly convinced. If it wasn't for COVID, Donald Trump would have won in 2020. He would not have lost on the Orange Man bad anti-rhetoric. It was just such a catastrophic I don't even want to call it failure because it was just a catastrophic world event that, very much like an economic collapse in our previous presidents, that it was almost the fact that he even got close to winning is shocking because with that much of a world altering, I don't know. Well, this was a pandemic. Let's just call that world-altering pandemic. You would expect a necessity. The we need a change. Almost gets a leg up, and the Democrats stole that election. No, I don't. I don't have enough rigor and proof to be able to say that, but it is a suspicious election to say the least.
Which means they might get into office by learning absolutely f***ing nothing. again. Then the voters will go, oh my god, nothing has changed, and then they'll vote for a Republican. American politics is just a revolving door of villains, isn't it? Rest assured, whoever wins, we lose. If you're actually gonna do this shit, if you're actually gonna do what you're saying in this little article, you better be going whole hog, not just the tip. I'm talking embracing shoe-socialism.
Looking forward to this.
For many years, I have been smeared as many things. Grifter, flip-flopper, fence-sitter, racist, sexist, homophobic, but I am not a grifter, flip-flopper, or a fence-sitter. I'm simply living in 2055. You see, America has been a hyper-capitalist, economically center-right, socially center-left country since about the mid-century. And I know libertarians in my audience are gonna be like, it's not capitalism, it's cronyism. Okay, whatever the f*** you want to call it, it sucks, okay? So what if instead, and hear me out, what if instead we were a more people-focused, community-focused, working-class-focused, economically left, socially right country? All the data shows more people fall into that quadrant, the populist quadrant, the shoe-socialist quadrant, if you will, than the current system we are in today. If a shoe-socialist party existed, it would be incredibly popular, but it doesn't exist. And that's probably by design, honestly. The Social Democrat Party of Denmark has passed many progressive policies that liberals in America would only dream of. Protection from rent hikes, free college and healthcare, carbon taxes, and a very strong welfare system. But the Social Democrat Party also believes in a strict immigration policy. They believe that if immigration is too fast or chaotic, it puts pressure on working class communities, weakens social unity, and makes it harder to maintain their strong welfare system. Wow, what a f***ing grifter Denmark is. I feel like so many people
100% agree with that policy or that perspective on immigration.
Nowadays are like terminally left-right brain to the point where like they look at issues and instead of being like, that solution makes sense to me, I believe that, I agree with that, they instead go, that's the left-wing solution, therefore I will believe in that. And it's so stupid and hyper-partisan and makes absolutely no sense to me, and that's why I think like a lot of left-right brain hyper-partisan people don't understand me or people like me. That's why they call me a centrist or fence-sitter or flip-flopper or whatever. And it's like, no, I'm not a fence-sitter. I have many strong opinions. You just don't like them. And no, I'm not a flip-flopper just because you don't understand the concept of having opinions that don't perfectly fall on the arbitrary, always changing left-right axis that is American circus politics. There's nothing incoherent.
This is, oh my goodness. Like, you can make a movement out of this. You can form a religion out of this.
About my beliefs on paper. None of them contradict one another. I don't understand. She likes free healthcare but doesn't want to chemically castrate children? She believes in workers' rights but wants a stricter border? I don't get it. Like, where is the contradiction? I'm basically just Bernie Sanders before he got his spine surgically removed by the DNC. In conclusion, MAGA and the Republican Party embracing populism is what made them so popular in the first place. But if the Republican Party's answer to all these issues young people are having is, F you, just move, you're not talented, maybe you'll own a home when you're 70 years old, they're doomed. Like they had a small, brief fling with populism and ghosted it. Just pumped and dumped. Like a fat whore they're ashamed of and won't bring out on dates in public.
As I'm editing this, Trump and Mamdani had a meeting together and it was very interesting.
We were discussing when Bernie Sanders was out of the race, I picked up a lot of his votes and people had no idea. When he was put out of the race, I think quite unfairly, if you want to know the truth, many of the Bernie Sanders voters voted for me. And I felt very comfortable, frankly, in seeing that and saying that. I would feel very...
I will say for the record, in 2016, I voted for the Libertarian candidate, Gary Johnson, not Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump. I guess between those two at the time, I would have chosen Hillary Clinton if I had to vote for a mainstream party. But in retrospect, I probably would, knowing what I know today, I think I would have chosen Trump.
Very, very comfortable being in New York, and I think much more so after the meeting. We agree on a lot more than I would have thought.
I'm sorry, this is my new favorite problematic Yowie ship. They love each other. Maybe it's not over, folks. Maybe the power of friendship and populism will save us all.
Listen, I want my kids to grow up in a safe and affordable world where they can get jobs and they can start a family and then they can have the same for their kids. And I feel like at the end of the day, that's what most people want. left and right. They just have different ideas on how to get there. It just so happens my ideas happen to be the correct ones, and if you disagree with them, you will be sent to the re-education camp. Do you want one? Do you want a nuggie? Pledge your allegiance to Shoesalism, and you get a nuggie. So that was that little video. If you liked it, please subscribe for more, and if you want to help support the channel, donate to my Patreon, link down below. All patrons get every single video, uncensored, a day early. If you can't or don't want to support me on Patreon, that's fine. I don't care. I didn't want you to anyway. Baka. Okay, I will see you guys soon with a fun slop video, just in time for Christmas.
I'm looking forward to potentially having money to support people on Patreon, fellow creators, because I feel like someday I want to create a Patreon, and I should probably have participated in the support of others. And Shoe is going to be high up on that list of people to support. No ending. No ending. Okay, let's make sure this doesn't Snazzy Lab. Sorry, we'll talk about that later. But thank y'all so much. Wait, here, how about I do this? Thank y'all so much for stopping by Joelee's. I've been your host, Joelee, that bitch that Dolly warned you about. Please like and subscribe to this video. If you've been with this channel for any amount of time, you may know that I have a tabletop game called X Seekers of Fortune. I should have a link to it down below. You can check out the trailer. We'd love to get your feedback. We'd love to get you in the community. We're launching a free way to play online through screentop.gg. So if you use that service, or if you don't mind using web-based ways of playing games, come check it out. Otherwise, I hope you have a great day and enjoy yourself.